We are on the south side of Ganga with quick peep into fast track procurement chapter starting at page number 283. Throughout the length of the document, any and all officials must remember that there is urgency. So appropriate adjectives were inserted as many times as possible to show urgency. Hope you have caught the irony by now. This is for fast tracking procurement. Rewind to forward to DPP covered in part 1 and I quote, requirements of expeditious procurement, unquote. And the same document has a chapter for fast track procurement. So what happens to rest which fall outside the ambit of FTP? God will answer. And some well-respected media friends wrote theses on bypassing of DPP. To conclude an emergency buy, there are 5 committees and collegiate vetting by 3 internal wings. This chapter has a specific aim to meet unforeseen imminent requirements or due crisis without warning. Take a guess. How many days for decision? If user trials are envisaged, it stated such procurement will not be through FTP, para 3. Now let's call friend however, he pops up in para 8, where it said time for user trials be minimized. In para 14 for new equipment, it said while user trial is not required, an empowered committee with adequate members from different wings of ministry and from forces may be authorized to visit for a user trial. This committee will have a sticker on forehead, no bribes please. It will demonstrate its transparency, probity and public accountability to Don Anthony Gonzalez because the vendor has signed integrity clause that he will not see the open mouth. Demonstration of trades done, it will conclude the contract in shortest possible time. What an idea, Sarji. A small query. Was this for emergency procurement? You can also have a look at para 6 and 8, indifference and ambiguity galore, depicts traits unowned and royalty. Para 9a, for price fixation, friend however says presents her. Is it discretionary powers to be indiscreet? Be my guest. Some more English to show urgency along the way. Kaaluram, the MOD clerk, nailed the contract conclusion. Para 21, contact conclusion. You heard it right, contact conclusion. All these committees, meetings, visits, negotiations in shortest time, contact gets established. Divine intervention. Hello Kaaluramji. Which letter did you choose to miss out? Thank this Rafale bhajan, but for which this black humor on India of 2013 would not have come out now. More English and a little later, you reach termination. Termination clause at para 28c. GUI tells itself that if any agent comes in between the weapons and government, to hell with the emergency, GUI will back off from the contract. Strangely, it can't tell the agent to get lost. That will be transgressing into his personal freedom. This backing of procedure from contract, like Wagah border exchange, is given on page 318 titled Article 23. How do you do, Mr. Christian Michel? An integrity pact will also be signed by GUI and vendor, para 31. There is a format for integrity pact where the mouth will say, I will not eat, and the vendor will vouch that he will not see the open mouth. Is in Annexure 1, Appendix H of Schedule 1 of DPP 2013. In para 32, Clerk Kaaluram types, in case it takes more than 6 months to sign a contract, GUI will ask itself for fresh directions. Hello? Emergency is still to occur, but DPP anticipates a delay. Is it in contact conclusion?
So the me resides in this as me, is residing in all of that as me, so that me through this me talking to me.
In para 33, Kaluji accepts emergency, so he writes that these are guidelines. Hello, not procedures per se, and may be difficult to follow all the times. If so, GUI has to take permission for deviation from itself. Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Basmasmi. In the instant Rafale case, PMO bypassed DPP 2013. So said the explosive experts. Modi is a foreigner, right? If PM of a country directs his ministry to expedite the process, mind you, armed forces were kept hungry for long. How does it become bypass of a procedure? If RM can authorize deviation, is PM lower in hierarchy? For whatever it is worth, DPP in Para 33 authorizes deviation from guidelines. This is not even a procedure. DPP 13 was silent on system upgrades that would happen on a product over a period of time. RFP once frozen, that's it. With this, the product that used to come would be 5 or 10 years old. Due to the present deal, Rafales will come with the latest avionics and the latest Meteor missile system. This is the actual deviation from DPP 13, the crafty journalistic story intentionally remained silent on. Let me put this point from a different perspective. I strongly urge you to go through retired Major General Harsh Kakkar's article, Elephants in MOD, published in Statesman recently. It starts off with, and I quote, "Getting work done in this office is like the mating of elephants. It is done at a high level with immense grunting and groaning, and it takes almost 2 years to produce results," unquote. With the same MOD, Modi has signed orders worth about rupees 4.4 lakh crore, including rupees 1200 crore for surveillance radars for Navy and rupees 500 crore order for 10 lakh hand grenades last week. Forget about mating. The elephants in MOD would have pooped bricks all over South Block with the scorching pace of procurements. Forgive me for this crass expression, but some strong stents had to be put on this bypass theory story, you see. Case of brains on permanent pledge at somebody's feet. Whose? Hey, accept my apologies. I forgot that Prime Minister should be a figurehead. If late Kuldeep Nair's book Jinnah to Modi is to be believed, files used to go to 10 Janpath for approval. Mr. Sanjay Baru's accidental Prime Minister book said Mr. Manmohan Singh had little control over government, conveying that decisions were taken elsewhere. People who aren't familiar with Lutyens Delhi, it is some distance between South Block and Janpath. With files on frequent stroll between two places, Christian Michels, Bandaris and Talwars of the world must have found it easy to exchange good mornings and good nights with files. Good morning, UPA. If I push back my brain to my empty head, the investigative report's conclusion that Modi interfered in Rafale deal is bang on target like Wingko Abhinandan's missile hit on F-16. But then my problem is with the warped logic of the report, which bases story on the scarecrow DPP. Ouch, some more red patches. Had the report concluded that Modi didn't follow the protocol set by Mr. Singh as mentioned in above books, investigative story would have become superlatively 21. You stupid veteran. If the same protocol was followed by Modi, how could there be Rafale bhajan and exposing corruption? Signing or not signing of Rafale deal, along with agents in tow, would have been by the DPP, and the poor reporter would have missed crafting a brilliant piece of, in India, it's called investigative journalism. I think we are nearing Java top in Balakot. Turn back, veteran. You're better off with your brain in your feet. Through a glimpse of portion of a document running some 356 pages, you have only smelled the coffee. If you were to go through the full document, you will forget coffee for your rest of life. That still leaves all other ministries and their mighty procedures. Leave your comment on the page if it crosses 30,000 crore, someday an exclusive session on red tapeism. By the way, which is your tick number? If some life is still left in this Rafale bhajan, you need to do a Mangal or Maha-Arati, whichever region you belong to. Back to the fourth allegation. Through smuggled out top secret note sheets with arduous and imaginative smartness, you built a believable thesis of bypassing of DPP 13. There were smiles and taunts about corruption galore in TV debates. Character assassination comes so easily to us, isn't it? Kudos to your journalistic work. Para after para of DPP was quoted to construct your bypass theory. of a non-existent heart. Bribery clause removed in this deal. Bloody treacherous blow to a nation's integrity by Modi. Hello my brains, are you okay? Wonder whether Modi will get to hear this. One way to kill this procurement menace is send these file pushers one at a time, either in CRPF buses or with commandos going inside park or in co-pilot seat of Mirage or better still MiG-21 with the diktat that they will submit dissenting notes and tour reports within 12 hours after return, if they return that is. All your procurement issues will be gone forever. DPP, what is that? The same lot will ask. 72 versions? No, no, no. Such a long Rafale bhajan ate up so much of my time. Few questions to banta hai na sir. Let's look at Augusta Chopper's story. Difficult to believe we weren't around. The file movements as reported were known to Augusta headquarters in Italy even before that MOD clerk Kaaluram could sneeze. As per reports, Christian Michel was there for everyone's contact with full files, 2005 to 12, 7 long years. Were your noses on rent that you couldn't smell the rat? Hotel Ashoka Claridge's in Delhi, Windsor Manor in Bangalore. Guest was having South Block and more for breakfast. May the soul of this humble gentleman, Dr. Manohar Parrikar, a politician for whom I had great admiration, may rest in peace. On 6th May 2016, he made some telling comments on Augusta's scam. At least, his comments could have triggered an expose. Mr. Sanjay Bhandari, any bell in your upper chamber? As per IT department, top secret defense papers were found in his residence. Was South Block shifted during UPA? If one were to believe the quantum of money routed through him, at least 3.5 Rafales would have been here by now. Why don't you prove your concern for nation, at least in this story? What happened to RFPs of helicopters which should be here this year from USA? Why no story? Doesn't suit the conclusion, is it? Will you do an expose on ONGC Samsung Heavy Industries deal of 2006? Just few comfortable queries to take the horse to the water. Hello veteran. Protocol of UPA and investigative stories permanently divorced. This is brain in feet problem of this veteran. How can I forget the great DPP 13 of UPA? In all defense deals, it had signed integrity pact with vendors. Anti-bribery clauses were popping out of all and sundry. No bribe please sticker pasted on foreheads with Fevicol. All descendants of the Danashur Karan. With the Surya Kavach, can any corruption case be made out? Case dismissed. Next please. Shouldn't maturity of a nation be measured by the essence and quality of questions? When will we channel our cerebral abilities to ask right questions to right people? There is a tick number, right? Let us see whether you have gone one up on British. A typical experience in government office. Yahan system to aise hi chalta hai. System is like this only. Ask Kaaluji in South Block for confirmation. For British, system meant method, technique, procedure, etc. For us, files without a purpose is system. Delay is system. Late arrival, early departure from office is system. Files NRR is system. Raising illogical query is system. System on its head, an asymmetric proportionate egg. In your greed to systematically loot the poor Indians' food from their plates, you didn't leave the word system itself. British, you go and hop. So much for your tick number. Remind yourself what have you done to your country since independence. Finally, 3 questions for you for staying this long. MOD is in South Block in Delhi. As per mythology, it is said Yamaraj is the lord of south direction. Should MOD shift to another block? Next, why were you served this uncooked biryani with Rafale version 3 times a day for 6 months? Should the sum total of idiotic thesis need to be circumcised? For me, there is nothing to conclude. Have served you well marinated tandoori Rafale meat. In whose hands you want to leave your country's destiny, take your call. Jai Hind. Khuda Hafiz.